Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing this morning?
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Super Saturday.
Yeah, it is a crispy early fall, early October here in Michigan. I was telling Kathy earlier, I went out as I often do with the girls, with the dogs this morning, and I was like, wow. And then I checked the temperature, it was 42 degrees. So I know you guys in Florida and other parts of the United States are missing this crisp weather, but we're enjoying it. It's beautiful here. So we're going to get rolling with our program here. We've got a couple of things officially lined up on the docket. But as always, this is kind of an impromptu round robin. That's what makes it fun. But we're going to have Carol cover stress and weight loss. You know, on the HealthPointe program, most people are using it for weight loss. It's a phenomenal program for that, as well as just overall improvement on health. And so Carol's going to cover some topics on stress as it relates to weight loss. I'm going to cover what I'm calling the George Burns effect. You know, how is it that somebody like George Burns, most people are familiar with George Burns, can live to be what, 100, and despite smoking cigars and stuff like that. So I'm going to kind of cover what I call the George Burns effect and see if we can have some fun and some insights with that. But Carol, I'd love to turn it over to you to kick us off if you're there, Carol.
I am here, absolutely. And it's a beautiful day in Florida. It's not 100 yet. And it's gorgeous. Few clouds in the sky, sun shining brightly. All that being said, I think we're supposed to get some tropical rains this weekend. So we've had our share of interesting phenomena. But today's a beautiful day. And I think that's what we have to concentrate on is the beautiful days that we have, not the stresses and stressors that we go through, because they come and they go, and that's part of life. But let's see if I can find a shady spot here. Let me borrow this person's driveway. Anyway, yeah, so I think because of the world we're living in right now, and this too shall pass, I believe, I think people do get hit with stressors. And it's so interesting to me how no matter what I'm reading, no matter what's going on, I just keep going back to HealthPointe and what a stabilization that is. And I'm not talking just about HealthPointe weight loss or even HealthPointe getting off medications, although those are the reasons people get on and they're extremely effective. What I'm talking about is the healthy living HealthPointe way of life, where if you keep your life in balance, then as these stressors come, they will be much more, you'll be much more able to face them, deal with them until they move through. Like storms. Storms come, they go, they move through. Sometimes they leave their ill effects. Well, that's the way life is. And so in the process, we deal with stressors. And if you're trying to lose weight, one of the key stressors, key downfalls of having a stressful situation and not dealing with it is your cortisol hormone. Which Eric, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, because you are the definite knowledge person on this, but I believe cortisol will prevent you from losing weight. It prevents you from having a good night's sleep, which will prevent you from losing weight. It will help you encourage you sometimes to make wrong choices, because sometimes we use stressors to or we use comfort food to kind of cover up stressors. We think that eating something, whatever it might be in your life, eating something wrong will help comfort, kind of like the drink covers up, alcoholic drink covers up challenges that you have and smooths them over for a period of time, but they do detriment to your health. It's the same thing with food. And so if we look at our food choices and we think of those, would I take an alcoholic beverage to cover that up? Some of you might say no, but would I take something that is not on our HealthPointe program, something that's just not flat out not good for you? and cover that up, we don't think anything of that because we don't think of that as being addictive, but it very much is. And so I think that the more that we can do, I know Network 21 is running a challenge on listening to audios, and I would encourage everybody, whether you got on it, you didn't get on it, you've got to make up, whatever, I would encourage everybody to get on that challenge of daily audio listening, because I think that can really help your brain and sort things out in your head. And when you sort things out in your head through audio listening, through reading of a good book, those then you can, in a much stronger situation, hit the day and make healthy habits. I'm reading a book right now called Be Anxious for Nothing by Max Lucado. And it's just wonderful because it talks about anxiousness and stress. And so I would strongly say to you that think about stress when you are making your food choices. And I think more now than ever before, we have to safeguard what enters into our home, where we go, and how we plan ahead. You know, I always use that term, call ahead, whether it be a restaurant that you've got to look at menus first before you leave, not when you're there and you're starving. You know, look in your pantry. Am I prepared? Do I have sabotage in my pantry? If you're sabotaging yourself, it's going to be that much harder. So just, again, look ahead on all these things. And I want to recommend a few products that I think can really be of help if you are in stressful situations. And one, I would say definitely would be our little, and I'm going to set my water down here, our little Sweet Dreams, our little gummies. Many people find tremendous relief by having a good night's sleep using the Sweet Dream gummies. And all you have to do is just suck on those about 30 minutes before you go to bed. Turn your devices off and be prepared for a relaxed mind. If you're going to bed and you are listening to disturbing news or input of any kind, whatever that might be for you, then what you're doing is that's the last thing on your brain, and that's what you're dealing with when your head hits the pillow. Where with Sweet Dreams, and if you've got to have anything electronic on to kind of, tone you down, then I would say turn on something really soft, maybe some soft, beautiful, meditative music, or maybe some kind of a soft video or something that can neutralize your feelings and leave wonderful feelings in your mind before you close your eyes. First of all, you'll fall asleep quicker. Second of all, you will sleep through the night. And even if you have to get up, you'll go right back to sleep. And so these are things that you can, again, call ahead, think ahead. What are my issues? What am I doing before I go to bed? How can I take care of that? Be it get your devices out of your bedroom or get them way across the room from you if you have a larger bedroom, whatever it might be. Just take control of those things. Another couple products that I would highly recommend is the Stress Relief Probiotic. And they tell you to take that first thing in the morning. I think we've always taken it last thing at night or in the evening, because I think, again, that's a stress reliever. And after the busyness of the day, that will relieve your gut. It will relax your gut. It will continue to help your gut work properly, which will send messages to your brain properly. Because remember, our body is one unit. It's not these segmented units. It's everything working together. And so that stress relief probiotic taken at night, I believe, can greatly help you in your overall well-being. And then the third one of my very favorite products, I've been waiting for it to come, and now we've had it for a number of months, is the ashwagandha. And that is an herb that beats stress, and it's a beautiful, beautiful product. And what's wonderful about it is it's part of our Nutrilite organics. And so it's so pure and so fresh and so from our organic farms and our organic partner farms that you just can't go wrong with a product like that. And it tells you to take 2 a day. I take them with my other supplements. And I just find that 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, and it just so helps you to step back, assess, reevaluate, put in the corner things that you can't handle, offer them up to God, as far as I'm concerned. That's my take. And just relax. And he's got everything under control. And so the important thing is for you to take all the wonderful things that he's provided for you and use those as tools to get through this period of time that we're in right now. So that's kind of my little take this morning. I thought I'd do just a little bit of a product advertisement, but I think more importantly, get your mind, your spirit, and your body all lined up, and give them that turn down time as we move towards our sleep night. And the better you sleep, the stronger you're going to be, and the better you're going to feel, and the healthier choices you're going to make during the day. So, Eric, are you still there? I don't see your picture. Oh, there
I
you
sure
are.
am.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
No,
my take this morning.
As always, phenomenal, including just some real key actionable takeaways. I've got some thoughts and commentary just to keep this very important topic rolling a bit, but I'll turn it over to the round robin effect on anyone else that may have some thoughts initially as well. Anybody wants to chime in?
Hey, Eric, this is Emily.
Hey, Emily, AKA my wife.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Emily.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Carol topic today about stress. It is so important and is beyond important. I myself have experienced a lot of stress recently because I'm taking care of my parents and they both have dementia. And if you want to measure stress, wear the CGM.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely can measure and you can see your level of stress through the CGM. It's really, really amazing. So Carol talked about the poor choice of food and lack of sleep and habit at night lead to stress, right? Also, the other way around, the stress can lead us to pick the wrong food choices and have a poor habits. So it's a two-way street. So it's very, very important that we take stress seriously. I did not take stress to manage stress seriously in the past. And even now, I don't have a good habit yet. And that leads to a lot of inflammation in my body. I can see the CGM show that. For example, sometimes throughout the day, I eat pretty tight, but I'm hanging on to the stress. My body hang on to the stress. And my CGM showing that I'm the number is hanging around like 100. And ideally, I would like, when I don't eat food, I would like to see it between 70 and 90, 95. I wanted to see below 100. But even a good day, decent food choice, I see that my body, my CGM hovered over 109, even at night. At night, your number should go down low, right? Because your body is resting. But not last night, but for last few days, was above 100. So Carol already went through all the steps that we should take to manage our stress. I don't need to go, and explain more of that, but please manage your stress seriously. It does a lot of damage to your body, and it will spike your insulin like you cannot imagine until you see it on your CGM. So that's all I have to add.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much, Emily. Yes, it's so funny. I kind of mentioned in previous episodes with the CGM that, our morning routine, I like to wake up, maybe get a kiss. Now I wake up and Emily's showing me her CGM screen, which is all good. Yeah, it's really what Emily is touching on here and tying it in additionally to what you covered, Carol. You mentioned about cortisol, and Emily's mentioning about cortisol. So you're right, Carol. Cortisol, like so many things in our body, our hormones and chemicals, they're good things. They're there to do us good, but they can go bad, just like other things in our body. Your immune system is very good, very important, but we all know people that have autoimmune diseases where your immune system got hijacked or kind of went haywire and it attacks, your nerves or something like that, or your pancreas. Cortisol, same thing. Cortisol is a hormone, a stress hormone. So if you're stressed, you'll typically release two stress hormones. One is adrenaline, the other one is cortisol. And again, those are good things. If we're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or a big bear, it's kind of good to have some adrenaline and some cortisol, because one of the things that does is that signals the liver to release these short-term reserves, these more immediate reserves of glucose for fuel. Why? Because our body, our muscles need this burst of fuel to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. But if you have a chronic cortisol, often in dysregulated sleep, restless nights, and that cortisol is it's signaling your liver to release this glucose, which is going to elevate your blood sugar. And so that's what Emily is speaking so well about. And I love Emily's reinforcement and key takeaway there. Guys, if you haven't done it yet, I highly recommend. I mean, $99 is not chump change, but in the world of health tech, it is. You can get a CGM, otherwise known as a continuous glucose monitor. Used to be many times that amount of money. I know the first CGM that I got ran me around $300, and it was all kinds of trouble trying to get online prescriptions because it required a prescription. As of about 3-4 weeks ago, we now have the Stelo, spelled STEL, 1LO, Stelo.com. You just go to Stelo.com and super easy, $99. You'll have it in 2, 3, 4 days. And you can watch Erica's unboxing video on how to put it on, although it's very, very simple. And then you can get these readings that Emily is speaking about and gaining these insights. She continually gets insights into her readings and what she can take away from that, including this recent topic that she's talking about in terms of stress. Because as she's mentioned, my in-laws are living with us, and we're blessed, we're fortunate, we enjoy time with them. We went to movies last night with them, but at the same time, especially if someone's in some level of cognitive decline, that's a more of a stressor. So these things happen in life. We go in and out of different types of stress, and when you can read your blood sugar reading like Emily is talking about, it can help you inform your what you can do to manage that. So any other thoughts? Thanks again, Emily, on that. That was fantastic. Any other thoughts on stress and cortisol and CGMs?
Yes, the Step Queen has something to interject.
Right on. All right.
So, as you all know from previous episodes, one might say since the month of January, I might have experienced a few stressful episodes in my lifetime. And in thinking back, I really want to say, and I know it sounds kind of silly and everything, oh yeah, whatever, okay. But walking so many times
Morning.
when I was sitting in that ER chair and my mind was just racing and I had nothing else to do. I was like, I got to get up. I got to walk. Number one, I needed to get my 10,000 in for the day. And I had no idea what the rest of the day was going to hold for me. And so I knew I had that moment of doing nothing. So it made perfect sense to get up and walk. But really, in thinking about all the times that I was in the ER and all the times that I was, in and out of Dave's hospital room, different times, the walking really did make a difference for me. So it not only, got me up to make sure I got my 10,000 in every day, but I did seem to feel better. I mean, most of the time, when I would text people and everything, and I'd tell them about Dave, everybody's like, well, but how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And that really was an honest thing. I really did overall feel fine. I mean, obviously I was concerned and, the unknown is always scary, but overall I did feel fine. And I've got to attribute it to, number one, my HealthPointe program, my vitamins. I mean, I don't know where I would have been without excess and Nutrilite, but, and then just the movement. So, and just a little funny situation. Yesterday, I had a very stressful morning at work, and Jermika's probably laughing right now behind the camera listening to this. But I had a situation that occurred, and I thought I had all my ducks in a row, and everything was going to get done, and it was all going to work. And I sent everything out to the gal that was supposed to process it for me, and she was out of the office. And of course, I said a couple expletives as soon as I discovered that in my email. And I was so upset. I was like, oh my God. I mean, I got my boss to sign it. My boss, in the middle of the meeting, my boss handed it right over because she was sitting next to the superintendent, or the assistant superintendent, who I needed her signature on it. She signs it. I'm thinking I'm gold. I come running upstairs. I'm ready to send it to her assistant to tell her what I needed her to do. And then I spent 10 minutes crafting this email. And then boom, she's out of the office till Monday. Well, as you know, I walk outside on my lunch, and I usually walk in the parking lot. And I had mentioned last week that there were a lot of acorns in the parking lot because there's a lot of trees in the one area. And the other day I had caught myself being a kid and walking and crunching on the acorns. Now it messed up my step count because I didn't get near as many steps in as I usually did because I was more focusing on trying to find acorns to crunch them. And it just brought me back to a really great memory. And I told them about that last week and they laughed. So at lunch, right before lunch, because this happened right before lunch, and when I walked in the morning, I said it was going to be a fabulous Friday because we started off with a wonderful Wednesday, and then everything that could have went wrong at work for everybody in my department did. And so by 9:30, we started at 8. By 9:30, I changed it to Wacky Wednesday. So Thursday was going to be terrific Thursday. And it did remain pretty much terrific Thursday. It was kind of crazy. So yesterday I was like, today's going to be fabulous Friday. Happy Friday. It was payday Friday. I was feeling good till this happened. I'm like, it's still going to be a fabulous Friday because on my lunch hour, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to crush some acorns. And that's exactly what I did. And I felt so much better when I came in. And Jamaica laughed, and I'm like, well, I went out and I crushed some acorns. I'm like, steps are a little low though. I'm not even at 5,000 because again, I was focusing on finding the acorns instead of really kicking my steps out, but it was worth it. So I know that's kind of comical, but I thought everybody would get a kick out of it. But really, honest and truthfully, walking really can calm you down and put you more at ease. And you're overall helping out your life. As I said before, the video that David Dassel shared with me, the benefits of 10,000 steps a day, is simply adding years to your life. I've been doing it for 2 years and 193 days today consecutively. Woohoo! So you know,
Yeah,
it is who I am.
and
So
we also enjoy how sometimes these topics, Carol started with this topic on stress and weight loss, and here in the HealthPointe program, we've got so much that we can relate to and experience. So Kathy, talking about your walking and kind of having some fun, with the acorns and stuff. And I know there's somebody else that's on this call. She may or may not be able to chime in, but we all go through different stressors, that kind of maybe ramp up, or sometimes they're a little bit more subdued. But there's something about the cadence of the HealthPointe program, whether you're actively in a 6-week cycle, whether you're even achieved your ultimate weight loss goal and optimal health, and you're in that maintenance mode, there's still a structure and a cadence. And there's something that is de-stressing about that. I say something about that. I think, it's pretty clear when you have a certain sense of normalcy in an otherwise amped up or heightened stress. If you can incorporate certain patterns and behaviors and structure into that otherwise seemingly out of control setting, because what is it that's causing that stress? It's, in many cases, it's that feeling of lack of control, and control is something that's so Kathy, like in your situation, I mean, everything was fantastic Friday or whatever you called it, happy Friday, until you checked your email, and then that sense of control, of expectation, was gone. Maybe it's when Emily's talking about her parents, my in-laws, staying with us, that is another element of an otherwise pattern out day that you get these variables thrown into it. Carol, you and Hank have hurricanes rolling through your neighborhood. Okay, obviously that's that lack of control. And when we have something like the cadence of HealthPointe, the cadence of your meal structure, the cadence of your supplementation, your cadence of your hydration, your cadence of your audio listening to, your cadence of your steps, that in and of itself is comforting, de-stressing. And the fact that all of those things are healthy habits, right? We're not talking about studying structures that are unhealthy. These are, good whole foods, world-class supplements, walking, fresh air, world-class audios that you're listening to. But wrapped in all of that, or kind of the big picture, is just as you're going through these days, or sometimes weeks, or it could be months, it could be years, of a more enhanced or a bit of a chronic stressful environment. Could be due to a family situation. It could be due to a occupational situation. It could be all manner of things that are a bit more chronic. To have this reliance of this daily cadence of the 6-week cycle HealthPointe in and of itself is very good for reducing stress. Everybody agree with that? Any additional thoughts on that?
I totally agree with what you're saying, Kathy and Eric. And I think how many times have we seen on movies, or we hear, I can do this. I can do this. And sometimes that's what we have to do, is stop and get those steps in, take control. That's what Eric, you said about taking control. That's so big. And why Kathy feels so good when she walks is 2 things. 1, adrenaline release. And 2, because no matter what's happening, I'm making a choice. Whether that choice be a good food choice. In Kathy's case, it's walking. Whatever your choice is, when you step back and make a choice, then you take control And in your mind, you say, I'm in control. I can do this. And that reaches into every area of your life. So as I was listening to all of you talk, boy, there's just so many avenues that we can go that help us to understand this. And so let's get out there and share this with more people so that they can understand that they have a lifestyle that they can join, a community they can join to get the support and knowledge that they need so they can do this. So
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that will play in a little bit in terms of how I'll wrap on my topic, and that's kind of a call out to people regarding the HealthPointe program and sharing that. But let me kind of step back and revisit what I queued up at the beginning as we were going through our docket and topics. And this might seem like it's in my topic is a little bit in contradiction to all that we've been talking about, but it's really not. It's actually, when you learn about it, as I'm going to try to help unpack, you see that it's not an either or. Ideally, it's an and. But what I queued up was, I'm going to talk about what I'm calling the George Burns effect. Okay. And so I think probably everybody is familiar with George Burns, but if you're not, let's do a quick review on this. And if you're a coach, if you're a facilitator, you probably in one form or another have had people bring this up, as kind of a rationale for why they're kind of struggling with making a choice to become healthier. And they'll say, maybe it's not George Burns, maybe it's some Aunt Susie that they knew that lived to be 173 years old and, smoked 10 packs of cigarettes a day and drank whiskey and they're like, and Aunt Susie lived to be that long. Or the more common one is George Burns. And George Burns is just character. You can look him up if you're not familiar with him, but he was in the entertainment industry and he was known for smoking cigars chronically, I think having a couple of whiskeys a day, and lived to be 100 and lived to be quite vibrant into his old age. And so either in your own self-talk, or if you're coaching and facilitating, you hear people that say things like, well, what about George Burns? Why do I need to do these things as far as healthy living? So I want to focus in on what was it about George Burns or people like that, like your Aunt Susie that lived to be 173, that despite seemingly other unhealthy characteristics and choices, they still lived vibrantly. And so I think we can do some takeaways on this. So again, to kind of roll here, George Burns, the iconic comedian and actor, lived a life filled with purpose and passion. Okay, that's what I want to talk about. This X factor in terms of health and longevity and healthy aging is having purpose and passion. And so if we look to George Burns, the iconic comedian and actor, lived a life filled with purpose and passion, particularly through his love for performing and making people laugh. Even as he aged, Burns stayed deeply involved in his career, which many believe played a key role in his longevity. Here's a closer look at his daily life, particularly in terms of purpose and passion. So just three things we're going to take a look at. He had a passion for performing. George Burns loved the stage and continued performing well into his 90s. He famously stated, quote, "I can't die because I'm booked," unquote. I love that. Okay. So this sense of purpose, having upcoming performances, making people laugh, and staying in the spotlight was central to his daily life. Even when he wasn't performing, Burns would rehearse, read scripts, and think about comedy, keeping his mind sharp and his passion alive. All right. Number two, work ethic. Despite his laid-back comedic persona, Burns maintained a strong work ethic. He often credited his long career to being diligent and disciplined about his craft. He would spend his mornings going through potential material, writing jokes, or rehearsing routines. For Burns, work was not only a professional necessity, but also a passion that gave him joy and fulfillment. And lastly, number 3, social engagement. Burns was a deeply social person and thrived on interactions with others. He loved spending times with his fellow entertainers and friends. He maintained a close relationship with Jack Benny, among other comedians. Social connection is often cited as a key factor in longevity, and for Burns, his social life likely contributed to his continued energy and zest for life. So he had a passion in terms of his craft. He had a strong work ethic, and he maintained social engagement. And it's fun to see if there's science behind some of this. And we've talked in previous episodes about the mitochondria. And just in terms of a quick review, the mitochondria are very, very important little tiny guys inside your body. They're actually inside your cells. They're what's called organelles. And the mitochondria are literally your sources of energy in terms of they are part of the metabolic process, a key part of the metabolic process, where in taking in food and fuel, it's these little guys that convert that into the currency, the energy currency that your body uses. This what's called ATP. So these are little organelles inside your cells that are creating ATP, which is the energy that gives you that zest for life. Or if you're lacking mitochondria, or if your mitochondria are unhealthy or diminished, it can lead to disease and ultimately, as I've cited on other episodes talking about mitochondria, there are poisons that you see in spy movies that individuals will get, and they die within seconds. And what is that? That's basically something that puts the brakes on the mitochondria inside the cells. And if those little guys aren't working, you're not either. So let's get into 5 points about this passion and purpose and how it affects these little guys, these little organelles called mitochondria. So it says there is increasing scientific interest in how having a purpose in life can influence mitochondrial health, with research suggesting that emotional well-being positively affects mitochondrial function, potentially promoting healthier age. Here's an overview of some key insights with studies included directly within the context. Number 1, mitochondria and stress. We've been talking about that, right? Chronic stress damages mitochondrial function, contributing to cellular aging and disease. However, a study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology found that psychological resilience, driven by purpose and emotional well-being, modulates mitochondrial function, protecting it from stress-related damage. Individuals with higher resilience showed healthier mitochondrial activity, indicating that emotional well-being plays a key role in maintaining mitochondrial health. Number 2, mitochondrial biogenesis. Mitochondrial biogenesis is the formation of new mitochondria, a process essential for maintaining energy production and cellular health. According to a study in Nature Reviews Neuroscience, emotional experiences, including a strong sense of purpose, influence mitochondrial biogenesis by regulating genes responsible for energy production. This study highlights the connection between psychological states and mitochondrial function, showing how purpose-driven living enhances these positive biological pathways. Number 3, the mind-body connection and energy metabolism. In a study published in Frontiers in Psychology, researchers explored how psychological well-being, including purpose and emotional health, is strongly connected to energy metabolism in the body. The findings indicate that positive emotional states enhance mitochondrial efficiency, helping individuals better manage stress and improve energy production at the cellular level. This research emphasizes how purpose and mental health support mitochondrial health and vitality. Number 4, mitochondrial damage, and chronic stress. Chronic stress produces ROS, otherwise known as reactive oxygen species, leading to mitochondrial damage. However, a paper in Mitochondria explains how interventions promoting psychological well-being, such as living with purpose, can mitigate this mitochondrial damage by lowering oxidative stress levels. The study suggests that fostering emotional well-being plays a crucial role in maintaining healthier mitochondria, particularly in context of stress. And number 5, telomeres, mitochondria, and purpose. Telomeres, the protective caps at the end of chromosomes, are associated with mitochondrial function and aging. Research from the Nobel laureate Elizabeth Blackburn highlighted in her book The Telomere Effect, demonstrating that individuals with a strong sense of purpose had longer telomeres, which is an indicator of better mitochondrial function and slower cellular aging. Blackburn's findings suggest that living with purpose can positively impact mitochondrial health and contribute to longevity. So to wrap it up, scientific studies suggest that a sense of purpose and emotional well-being improve mitochondrial function by reducing stress, promoting mitochondrial biogenesis, and protecting cellular health. These insights highlight the potential for purpose-driven living to support mitochondrial vitality and extend healthy lifespan. Okay, so there's the George Burns effect. There's some science behind it, specifically, if we focus in on the mitochondria of the cell, and then, where does that leave you? So often, and maybe some of you, in this Zoom or listening to this recording on YouTube might be thinking, maybe increasing your stress because you're like, I don't know if I have a purpose, or I don't know if I have that, I understand all this and I'm thumbs up on this, but I don't know that I feel this purpose or passion. Well, I would make 2 suggestions. One that I've heard repeatedly and I experienced myself. And that is, I think it was from Mitch Sala. Those of us that listen to the N21 audios can recognize the name Mitch Sala. And he said with himself, and this is something that I experienced, is that if you feel that you don't really have that clearly defined purpose or passion, that George Burns effect, that zest for life, this is what you love to do, make that your goal. Make that your daily meditation, your daily prayer, your daily mindset, that, to help you identify what your purpose and passion is. And then try things. That's the other thing, is, not just to think about it, but if any little opportunities pop up, to take action on those and, demonstrate to yourself that you're serious about this, that you're not just, wishing and dreaming about it, but rather taking steps. Read the books, listen to audios, try some things, and so forth. But I love it when Mitch Sala talked about that. This is somebody that is iconic in our business model, and massive organization, tons and tons of leaders, a leader of leaders. And you think, gee, this guy just came out of the womb just firing, Nope, he was lacking purpose and passion. And he just, prayed daily, for him to get his purpose and passion. So kind of make your purpose and passion to find your purpose and passion. If that's not too loopy, I can, share briefly that that's definitely my story. I can literally, some of us on this call will know the late Bill Fondren. I can literally remember, imagine this, imagine, for those of you that think, purpose and passion is all about, lifestyle and stuff. And it's not always. We were literally walking on a beach in Hawaii, and he was asking me, what my passions were, what my goals, what my dreams were. And here I am walking with an iconic individual on an iconic beach. And my answer was, I don't know. And that was the truth. And so much different than that today, but that just points out that that's not something that you necessarily come out of the womb with. I don't know George Burns's story on when he discovered that this was something that he loved to do. But I would just say, number one, if that's you and you don't know what your purpose and passion is, just make that your purpose and passion. Make that your daily mindset, your goal to discover what that is. And then the second thing that, if I can suggest this, is HealthPointe. I love how Jim Dornan, I heard him, again, I'm citing people that some of you might not be familiar with, but those of us that listen to audios and so forth, very familiar, of course, with Jim Dornan, the founder of Network 21. But when he talked about, this business model, he talked about it. Here he is, this engineer, this scientific kind of a guy, this melancholy type of a thinker. And the term he used for this is, it's the whole banana. And you're like, what? That doesn't sound very engineerish. The whole banana. What it was referring to is, and those of us that are in this lane of HealthPointe, there's health with it. There's science with it. There's helping people with it. There's money in it. There's business in it. There's social connections in it. There's this customized approach. You can pick and choose out of it what you want out of it. And so I would suggest to those that are just looking to try things, try HealthPointe, do HealthPointe yourself, and then try helping others with HealthPointe, because as Jim Dornan said, this type of model is kind of the whole banana. You get a lot out of it in terms of purpose and passion, the intellectual stimulation of it, the business, the helping others. I think that's a big part. If you can have a purpose or a passion that is not just selfishly driven, you think of George Burns. I think probably what invigorated him was, making others laugh. Very much about other people. And I think, with HealthPointe, it's not just something, yes, we can start by just helping ourselves, but then in turn, we can help others. And that is just a real special kind of purpose and passion. And boy, the world needs help on the HealthPointe front. That's for sure. So anyhow, I hope that was a fun little road that we traveled there on the George Burns effects. And if anybody has any comments, chime in.
Eric, I love what you said, and it's just absolutely spot on. And the last thing you said was, make HealthPointe your passion, and first go on it. I think that was really key, because when you're looking at HealthPointe, perhaps as a business, go on it yourself first. There's folks that have gone on it and lost 10, 15 pounds, nothing monumental, but they walked through the walk. There's other folks that have gone on it that have been on multiple cycles over the months, sometimes years for some people, and learned what it did to the quality of their life. And it's getting behind the wheel and driving. When you do that and you go through at least one cycle, but preferably more, then as you're helping people, you are flashing back to, boy, I know what you're saying. Let me tell you, that first week, that first 2 weeks, I was sure I wasn't going to be able to do this. And then I got into it. And then you start telling your stories. And you can't tell your stories if you haven't walked the walk. So I think, Eric, what you said about first going on it yourself is not so much how much weight you've got to lose, although most people that get interested do want to lose weight, but it's the feeling and the stories that you build within your own mind and heart and soul that you can share with others. And that's because HealthPointe is methodical, but it's really a very relational and very emotional piece. And so when you have that emotion that you can portray to others, then I think you can be a really, really effective coach, because you've been through the ups, you've been through the downs, you've been through the stagnates, you've been through the soaring ahead, you've been through it all, and you could truly help somebody else when you've walked that walk. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's, you walk the talk, and then, you can be really authentic. When somebody is having, maybe they're having a good day, you can authentically relate to that. Maybe they're having a bit of a struggle, and you're not pontificating about it. You're not from some ivory tower, trying to pontificate about it. You can relate because you've been on those 6-week cycles yourself. Absolutely. Any other thoughts, commentary?
I love the whole banana.
Jim Dornan, brilliant individual, as so many of us know for sure. The whole banana. It really is, though. It's I tell you, I'm so grateful for it. I wake up, Emily can attest to this, I'm fired up, I'm excited, I'm working on things. We've got people that we're working with, a growing organization, and clients and business owners and so forth. And it's just so stimulating, and the different challenges that you're working through, also so rewarding. You've got business goals, you've got you're seeing numbers, cumulative pounds down by organizations and so forth. And this is doing good. This is doing well by doing good. And boy, if you can have a passion where you're doing well financially, doing well, in business and so forth, by helping others get well, that's fun.
I want to mention to you something that has crossed my mind a couple times as you were talking, and especially when you're talking about George Burns. And someone once said, and I don't know who it was, the 3 keys to longevity or having a passion in life is something to wake up to. In other words, something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. And when you keep those 3 things in the forefront of your mind, and then assess, do I have something to do when I wake up? Do I have a purpose? Do I have someone I can help? Or do I just today need to work on myself through reading and books and what have you? And then, someone to love, well, that kind of relieves a lot of stress in the bottom line. Sometimes it creates it, sometimes it definitely builds it in. And then something to look forward to, always having something, someplace to go, something to look forward to. That's why we have our conferences every semester, is because then we've got something to look forward to. I mean, there's many other things, many other experiences, but those 3 things, I think, just really keep in the forefront of your mind. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, we will be bringing this to a wrap. Something, and I'll sidebar with some of us here on whether we want to do this or not. But as I wrap, I want to say, for those that are on the call or reviewing this, if you're wanting more information, wanting help, in fact, one of the inspirations for me giving this talk today was one of our audios by Andrew Jobling, I think is how you pronounce his last name, called The Wellness Puzzle. And he talks about that puzzle for health. And so for those of you that are listening to this that want audio content, then reach out to the person that's invited you to this or is sharing this program with you. And there's others that may view this that don't know, you're just kind of coming in from the wilds, viewing this on YouTube or something, and you're not sure who to reach out to. Sorry about that. But what I was going to say, and Carol, I'll particularly get your insights on this later, is I may put together, up here in my header area, of my screen a universal number that someone can text, so that they can just text, hey, I want to, talk with David about HealthPointe. I want to talk with Carol about HealthPointe, or whoever the contributors are on our walk and talk. And this text can come in, and then, you can get a connection to a coach, to a facilitator to help you, with some of this content, because I know it can be frustrating when you get this material. And then particularly if you're coming in out of the wild, it's like, now what do I do? And so we'll try to provide a link or just a simple SMS, send a text message to a universal number that, it can come in and then can go out to the facilitator or the coach on this Voices of HealthPointe program, so that they can help you with next steps and maybe getting you an audio or some content so that you can get going on the HealthPointe program and move along. But in the meantime, I'll just say, reach out to the person that has invited you to HealthPointe, or if you don't know anybody, I'm sure you'll figure it out on how to get a hold of somebody, and we'll go from there. But guys, this has been so much fun. And looking forward to next week, same time, same place. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eric. Make it a super Saturday, everyone.
Amen.